Hello, we are 5 of the current 8 track captains, and we're going to answer some of your questions. This round is going to be track-related questions from that questionnaire you all filled out. But first, we're going to introduce ourselves. So I'm Margaret. I am a senior middle distance runner. I'm going to do the 815. And Liam.
Hi, I'm Liam Ackerman. I don't know if you can see my description, but I'm one of the guy pole vaulters. I'm 2021 presumably, so I'll be around next year or maybe the next one also. Albert?
Who'll go next? Yeah.
Hi,
Popcorn.
I'm Albert. I am a graduating thrower. Been in the track program all 4 years. It's been fun. Yeah.
Hello, I'm Lucy. I'm a 2021, so current junior, next year senior. I'm a hurdler and a jumper.
Hi, I'm Liana. I'm also 2021, and I'm a jumper. High jumper, to be exact.
And I'm a triple jumper.
So I guess question one is, how's the social life at MIT? Anyone want to pick that up?
Sure. I guess this also kind of ties in with the next question. There's a pretty prominent, I don't know if prominent's the right word, but there is a social scene at MIT. I believe MIT was ranked the number 2 party school in Massachusetts. So we've got that going for us. But I think generally it's a pretty rigorous academic school, but people kind of balance that with, having a lot of fun outside the classroom.
Yeah, that's particularly potent, I feel like, in the quarantine. Like, it made us all realize that the best part of MIT is the people and the socializing that you do. It's definitely the most valuable part of the school, so it kind of speaks to how important having those social experiences are, just like both in class and out of class.
Yeah, and it's definitely not just like the only social life at MIT is definitely not people going out on weekends or anything. A lot of it is like living groups, so like you'll get pretty close to the dorms you're in, or if you decide to go live in an FS at like an off campus after freshman year, and then just like other people you meet and hanging out with them.
Cool. And then I guess we can hit, why did you go to MIT? And I feel like we could all answer that separately.
Is this the non-track related questions?
This is the non-track related questions.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Why did we skip? Okay.
Yeah, why did we skip?
Why did we skip to the last question?
What? Well, Albert mentioned that it was both. All right.
Oh.
Specifically, how common is Greek life and off-campus living among members of the team?
I'm in a sorority. Leona's in a sorority.
Yes.
I'm in a fraternity.
I'm also in a fraternity.
Yeah, I'm the non-affiliated member here.
But I feel like that's not
generally,
super representative of the whole team.
Yeah.
Like, the fact that we have 4/5 of people here who are
It's probably like
affiliated.
50%.
Really? I think less than that.
It's-
Maybe not. I don't know.
For women.
Oh,
I think it's
okay.
pretty common. I think it's more
Yeah.
common among the non-cross country athletes. But there still are cross country athletes that are affiliated. On campus for men it's about 50% affiliation rate, and for women it's about 30%. So it's quite common at school, and among the team as well.
Yeah, I think within the team, it's a decision you would make like yourself. It's not like the entire team is part of the same Greek life organization, or the entire team goes through recruitment or rush every year. So I think you can do both, and it's just up to you as to whether or not you want that as part of your MIT experience.
In general, like any preconceptions you have about anything that exists at MIT, like get rid of it and experience it for yourself when you get here, and then decide whether or not you want to do it. So yeah,
Greek
goes
life,
for everything.
Yeah, Greek life is very different than it is stereotypically in America. Everyone in Greek life here is an MIT student. So there's lots of quirks that go along with that. It's not just kind of the state school image of Greek life that I think a lot of people have. A lot of them are very nurturing and interesting communities.
Albert, your eloquence just continues on. Okay. So question number 3, how many hours of work do you get for each class?
Hmm.
We have resources to tell you that.
Yeah.
You know, like our communities vary, also our classes do as well. We have a lot of online resources that tell you kind of like what you're going to get into. One is called Firehose. It's how we can plan our classes, make sure we get the credits we need to graduate. And it also tells you both how much units the class is rated for. Like some classes will be 12 units and they'll take exactly 12 hours. However, Firehose can tell you this 12-unit class takes 30 hours a week. Not actually something that happens, but still you can look out for it and use like prior MIT student experience to figure out what you're getting into in classes. So some take 3 hours a week and are rated for 12, some take much more than that.
Yep. Okay. What are humanities courses like? Are they good or do they feel like filler courses? So
Depends.
some humanities courses are, you know, more light on the workload, but I think if you ask people what their favorite class at MIT has been, about half the time it will actually be a humanities class. Like I took a poetry workshop class where we basically just wrote poems every week and read them to each other. So they become people's favorite classes because some of them are like kind of relaxing and allow you to explore a different part of yourself. But yeah, there are very serious humanities courses. I know course 17, which is political science, and you have to read like a book a week about like different political thoughts, which is just crazy to me. But you know, some people are really into that.
Yeah, and a lot of the humanities, I mean, MIT, we are a very rigorous technical school, consistently ranked at the top of the lists in most subjects. But a lot of people don't know that we're like rated like the top 3 humanities program in the world. So we're not just an engineering school, like we have a really, really strong humanities program. Personally, it's been one of my favorite parts of my experience here. And it's a really, really enriching experience and a great way to kind of balance your workload.
Yeah, so humanities, you know, like any other thing at MIT, they're like what you make of it. So, like for me personally, I was interested in political science. I was interested in Chinese, so I tried to take like humanity courses I was actually interested in, and in return, they didn't feel like filler at all. But I know some other people who, you know, they're like, oh, we have to take 8 classes. I'm going to take the ones with like 1 hour a week, 2 hours a week, and obviously those will feel like filler for them. So it's really up to you whether or not you take advantage of these humanities courses.
I can speak to that. I really resonated with my technical workload and chose like a math minor. So I was able to choose economics as a HAS concentration because it is required, like you have to go through these courses. And I chose a pretty light HAS schedule just because, again, I was really interested in the technology because the T in MIT stands for something for a reason. But you can find HASs that will go along with your technical interests if you don't quite have an arts side to you, or you just don't want to flex that while you're in school.
How do I
Next
figure
question.
out what I want to study?
I don't really know exactly how to answer that, but I feel like if you don't know what you want to study now, there's definitely a lot of ways that you could explore that at MIT, especially freshman year. You'll be on PNR the first semester, so you could like take a class in a major if you wanted to, like an intro class. You can also use GIRs to kind of like figure out what you want to do, or Europe in like a lab under a specific course. It's super common to change majors also. I know people who have changed majors like sophomore year, even junior year. So like no one's ever gonna tell you you can't switch majors. They might advise against it if you have like you'll have a super heavy workload if you're changing really late. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, no, Marty, you can go.
Oh, I didn't.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Yeah, MIT's been changing their first year policy a lot. I think they just tweaked it again. So you'll probably be hearing more about what it'll look like. But at MIT, you can't really declare your major until end of freshman year anyway. And they've been working to try to figure out how to make freshman year more open. So you're free to take the classes that you're interested in. So, I mean, I personally would encourage you to take classes that you think could be fun, something you might want to major in. And if you like them, you know, you could take more like that. If you don't, then really no harm done. Um, but yeah, I think just trying things, talking to people. Professors are pretty accessible at MIT. So even just talking to them, they could be scary when you first get here, but really they're just normal people. Took me a while to figure that out, but they're a really good source of advice.
Yeah.
Oh, also like upperclassmen and just the team in general, you can always ask upperclassmen or just anybody else at MIT what their experience with any major has been if you just want to find out more about it, or like what classes are like, or just like career opportunities afterwards if that's something you're trying to decide on.
Also, nobody's going to stop you from taking a class you want to take. Like, one cool thing about MIT is you can take any class. It could be a grad class, it could be an undergrad class, it could be in any major, pretty much. Like, you don't have to be in that major to take that class. So you can really explore a range of things. Like, I'm a math major, but I'm minored in NECI and computer science. My my research project is in Earth, atmosphere, and planetary science. So, like, you could just do whatever you want, basically. Yeah. Welcome back to Liam.
Is that a cat?
On me? Yeah, I have a cat.
Yeah.
This is a cat.
Oh, I saw its ears.
Yeah. Favorite traditions on campus? Albert, what's your favorite tradition on campus?
I don't know. There's a lot of fun ones. Rush in a way is fun. It's very fun as a first year. Rush and recruitment. It's still fun as an upperclassman, but it's a little different. It's a lot more work. CPW, again, very similar. It's a lot of fun. But you know, we don't really get that this year, and unfortunately, not really sure what the shape years will. Marathon Mondays, a ton of fun. Yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of blanking, but
Pumpkin Drop's pretty cool.
Pumpkin Drop's cool.
Yeah.
Pumpkin Drop. Ring delivery and ring premiere
Ooh.
sophomore year.
Good
Yeah.
Or just
I
like
think
rings
ring
in
delivery-
general.
Rings might be my favorite thing. They're a lot of fun. I don't have mine on, but
I don't have mine on either.
Yeah,
Do
same.
you all?
Fake MIT. Aha.
I literally
But
put
I
it
was
on
tucked away in my
today.
box
I
full
haven't
of
been
sadness.
wearing it.
In case y'all don't know, MIT actually gets really into their class rings or art class rings, and you get them your sophomore year. So you can flex on the underclassmen when you're older. And they're called a brass rat because they have a beaver on them and it looks like a rat from far away. But they're really
One of the
cool.
reasons-
If you get one, come
yeah,
here.
one of the reasons there's such a big thing is that each class designs their own ring. So I think it's end of freshman year. There's like a panel that's elected by your class, and they spend like months designing this ring. Every ring is really different, so it's really cool. One of the first things that happens when you get your ring is all the upperclassmen will be asking, like, "Oh, can I look at it? Oh, like, what does this mean?" It's like a really cool experience. A lot of fun.